Today I'm going to show you 3 ways to get anything off your credit report. Then you'll be able to get approved for funding for your business faster than building business credit. Over the past 10 years, I've helped thousands of people improve their credit to get homes, cars, and get funding for their business. So the information you'll hear today is tested and true. And it's not just the gimmicky stuff that you find online. So first, let me address the question that might be in your head right now, which is, can something really be removed if it's actually yours? The short answer is yes, but let me show you how that's possible. So let's look at the Fair Credit Reporting Act and look at this specific section, treatment of inaccurate or unverifiable information. Now you can see here in general, if after any reinvestigation, which as soon as you send a dispute, that is considered reinvestigation for some reason. So if an item of the information is found to be inaccurate or incomplete or cannot be verified, the Consumer Reporting Agency shall promptly delete that item of information from the file of the consumer or modify that information as appropriate. So what does this mean? It's saying that if a piece of information on any account on your credit report is inaccurate or incomplete, inaccurate being a wrong date, a wrong amount, incorrect comments, or even missing information on the account, those things qualify an item to be removed. So that has nothing to do with if you actually owned the account or not. Now, it also said if it cannot be verified. So basically, when you send a dispute, that information has to be verified to be accurate. And if the bureaus cannot verify it, they have to remove it. Now, another thing that we all know is that it has to be timely, meaning that it has to be within that 7-year period that negative items are allowed to report to your credit to. Now, this law is going to apply to one of the methods that we're going to use, and we'll get into that in just a second. Now, I wanted to bring this out first because a lot of people don't even try to work on their credit, or they avoid getting help with credit because they think the items can't be removed just because the item actually belongs to them. Most people don't know that 72% of credit reports usually contain errors. I'm sure you might have pulled your credit report up recently and seen some things on it that you didn't think looked right or accurate to you. It's already bad enough we have to deal with this consistently inconsistent credit system that has a lot of inaccuracies on people's credit reports that can cause somebody to get denied for something that they should have been approved for. That's why I'm making sure that you guys know about this information so you can have a chance to do something to get in a better place with your credit. Now, tell me down in the comments, have you ever looked at your credit report and seen anything that seems out of order before? Or are the stats incorrect and everybody's credit report is out there perfectly accurate with no inaccuracies? Now, let me get back on track because I want this to be a quick video. And let's talk about the different options to get your credit report so you can go to the best one. Now, of course, everybody's going to be thinking Credit Karma because Credit Karma gives you the free credit reports, but it's not going to be the best option. The truth of the matter is, when you're doing disputes, you're going to need the account numbers, and Credit Karma doesn't give you the account numbers. You're also going to need all 3 of your reports because different lenders are going to check different credit bureaus. And if you're trying to get business funding, the sequences that you go are going to be important as far as the sequences at which you apply at different banks to obtain the maximum amount of funding. And if you don't have all 3 of your bureaus, then you're not going to have all the information. Also, to see what you need to improve and work on, you need all 3 bureaus, and you can't get that from Credit Karma. Not to mention the score is usually way off from what they're going to pull. Now, a lot of you guys might want to go to the annual credit reports because, again, they're also free. Now, while you can do that, the problem with that is going to be that these reports are extremely long. You will get all 3 reports, but I've seen most people have anywhere from 50 to 100 pages I've seen, and more than that, just on one credit bureau. Now, they do have a lot of useful information, but when you're simply trying to see what's on your credit report so you can do some disputing or work on improving things, it can be a lot to dig through just to do that job. Now, what I've used for myself and my customers in the past has been My Score IQ. One of the top reasons is because they actually give you your FICO score, so you'll be able to see what your actual FICO score is. And they'll show you your 3 credit bureaus side by side, each account lined up next to each other so you can easily find discrepancies and inaccuracies. And they have the addresses to all of the collection companies and creditors on your credit report at the bottom of the reports. Not to mention they do have some other benefits that they give you as well, but you do have to pay for this. So I recommend doing the $1 7-day trial just to see if you like it. I'll put a link to them down in the description. And then, of course, if you like them, you can use them while you're working on your credit. Now, once you've selected a method to get your credit reports, I want you to go and thoroughly look through your credit report for these items. And this is based off what most lenders are going to look at if you're trying to get funding for your business. Look for any third-party collection companies, any charge-off accounts that you have that still have balances, any inquiries within the last 12 months, as well as late payments within the last 24 months. Now, you're going to want to get a sheet of paper or an Excel sheet or something. You're going to write down the names of those companies and the account numbers for those companies. And you also want to note any differences between any balances or dates on each account between the three bureaus, as well as discrepancies with the dates on late payments on those accounts. And now you have an inventory of what you're going to work on. Now, I need you to change your thinking from how it likely might be, as I've seen most consumers think like this when they start this type of process. This is a marathon and not a sprint. So this is something where you're going to be doing some work on this for possibly a few months. Don't just look at this like I'm going to send one round of disputes and then that's going to be it. You might have to do this for 3 months, 5 months, 7 months until you get your fully desired results. Because a lot of times the bureaus will send stall letters instead of responding to your dispute. They might ask you to send in documentation where they shouldn't be asking you to, or they might ask you to resend your IDs and proof of address, stuff like that. They just do a lot to stall and make you want to give up. But think about this as a marathon and that you're going to have to continue to go back and forward until you get these things resolved. That's why you always want to start this type of process before you need something. Because in your mindset, your goal might be a sprint and you need to get something like yesterday or within the next 2 weeks or 30 days. But it's unrealistic to expect that you're going to get to a 700 score, especially if you're in the lower range, that quickly without doing some work. Okay, now let's talk about method number 1. Method 1 is going to be factual disputing. Now, factual disputing is just like it sounds. You're going to be looking at the facts on your credit report, which are those discrepancies, the inaccuracies, the inconsistencies, and you're going to call those out. So if you see a wrong balance here, a missed payment on August of 23 on TransUnion, but it's not there on the same account on Experian, all of those are things that you want to call out. And then you're going to create your letter for the credit bureaus. You're going to include the accounts that you need to dispute that are on those respective bureaus on the respective letter to that bureau. And of course, you want to have your name on this, your address, the bureau's name, the bureau's address. If you're sending this straight to a creditor, then of course the creditor's address. And like I said, in Identity IQ, they have the addresses of all your creditors listed at the bottom. So if you get those reports, you'll have all that information. And when you're listing out the accounts that you're disputing, you also want to make sure that you craft the reason and why you're disputing it. And the reason why disputing is going to be the most powerful thing that you can do. So getting that right is going to be very important. And look, if this seems like it's a lot so far as trying to figure out how to craft a letter, what to say in the letter, coming up with the dispute reasons, and how you're going to track all of this information and the results that you get from disputes each month and what you need to dispute the following month, then let me tell you about something that I put together to make it easy for you guys to be able to do this. So first off, I have a dispute letter library that you guys can get. And basically it's 25 dispute letters in there that cover a broad range of different scenarios that you might need. So if you don't want to do the guesswork and figuring out how to craft the proper letter to send to the bureaus that will be effective, then check out those dispute letters below. Now with that, you'll just get the letters. But if you also want to know how to actually customize those letters a little more with more details on building credit, more credit repair tactics that I've used over the years, and things that I've learned from going to credit repair trainings, learning from people that worked at the credit bureaus and consumer protection attorneys, as well as other people, then you want to check out my course, which teaches you the boost method that I came up with to improve your credit. And you'll also get 93 letters with that course instead of just the 25. And you also get a dispute tracker. So let me show you what the course looks like. So this is what it would look like once you get enrolled in the course. You can see this is the boost method here. And I have a bunch of different course material in here to help you get through all of the different scenarios that you would deal with. And it's to help you from A to Z and everything you need to know to work on your credit and get to a better place, as well as some tactics for pay for deletion strategies, as well as some other things. Now, also, you see you'll get 93 dispute letters here, as well as a dispute tracker to track everything while you're going through this process easily. And just to show you, when you get that dispute letter library, they have advanced creditor disputes as well as the bureau disputes. So you can come in here and you can see there's a plethora of information for you guys to actually use when you're going through and sending out these disputes and trying to figure out what you want to do. There are escalation tactics, inquiries, special situations, and like I said, it's a plethora of information in here and all of the information that you need to get the job done. So again, you can check out this course down below. and I actually have a sale on it, so jump on that while that is available. And I made it so that you can digest all of that information and experience that I have with very simple instructions that will get results. Okay, so whether you're using my letters or creating your own letters, when you send those disputes to the bureaus, make sure you're including a copy of your driver's license, your social security card, and a proof of address like a bill or something like that. If you don't, instead of responding to your dispute properly, they will send back a letter requesting that you send that information anyway. Now let's get to the second method, and that's going to be a direct dispute with a collection company using a specific method that most people overlook. Now, the reason you want to go directly to the collection company instead of just going to the credit bureaus is because this gives you a second layer of an attack. So now you're attacking the same problem at two different points. And also, I'll throw this little quick tip in right here. If you send a dispute to the collection company first, once they receive that letter, they are not supposed to be making any attempts to collect the debt until they have fully resolved your dispute. So they can't make contact about your debt. Now, if you send a dispute to the bureaus during that time frame, after you sent that initial letter to the collection company, they're technically not supposed to respond about that debt because that would be communicating about the debt. Also, them reporting the debt on your credit report is an attempt to collect the debt. So if they haven't removed it from your credit report, at least while they're doing the investigation, that's also another violation. And that's not even the method I was going to show you, but let me show you that now. Now, the first thing that you want to do is go to NMLS lookup. Just Google that, and then you'll see these things pop up. And you want to go to the consumer access link. You might also see this screen pop up first, and then you would just hit consumer access. But now you want to go in here and you want to type in the name of the third-party collection company that's showing up on your credit report. So let's do a search for a popular one, Midland Funding. Let's do the search and see what pops up. Now you might see a few things pop up, but we can tell here that this is the exact company, and then you can see the address. This is another way to verify that this is the collection company, because sometimes they might have similar names to another company. And again, if you have the MyScoreIQ credit reports, you will see the address for that particular company at the bottom, so you would know that this is the correct company. Now, what we're doing here is we want to see if this company has a license to collect debt in your state. So you would just click and you would see any information on any of the states that they're actually legally allowed to collect debt in. Now, you can see that this isn't all 50 states. So if this collection company is on your credit report and they don't have a license in that state, well, that gives you a reason to go ahead and dispute them because they don't have the license to collect in your state. And you can send a dispute directly to them, making that claim. And look, if you're getting value from this information so far, make sure you hit the thumbs up button to let YouTube know this is a good video and they can show it to more people that are trying to get some improvement on their credit. Help them learn some of these tactics too by hitting the thumbs up button so that it has a chance of reaching more people. And look, you guys, before we get into the third method, I want you to know that all of these things that I'm showing you, there are other methods out there, of course, but just know that these are different tactics that you can try as you are going about trying to work on getting some improvement and see progress in your credit. There is no one silver bullet out there that's going to always get the job done the first time. Sometimes it might take multiple times, and sometimes it's going to take multiple tactics. So just don't give up while you're going through this process. And remember, it's a marathon, not a sprint. Now, this next method is something that you want to use, possibly after you send a few disputes and maybe you haven't gotten the results that you wanted to get. This is one step up in escalation that you can do to add a little bit more teeth to some of the work that you've already done. So what you want to do is go to Google and you want to type in CFPB complaint. And then this is going to pop up, and then you're going to want to go ahead to that site so that you can scroll down and hit start a new complaint. Now, once you get in here, you're going to want to enter in your information. Okay, now once you're in there, they're going to ask you, what is this complaint about? Now, there are different things to do if this is not the first time that you've done this for these particular disputes that you're making, but we're going to start with credit reporting or other personal reports. Then it's going to ask you what type of credit reporting product. You're going to put credit reporting, and then you're going to hit next. Now, what type of problem are you having? And you're going to want to put the most accurate thing to your situation. So incorrect information on your credit report, or improper use of your credit report, or problem with a company's investigation into an existing problem. And we're going to use improper use of report, and which best describes your problem. Reporting company used your report improperly. Because if they are reporting things that they shouldn't be reporting, things with errors and inaccuracies, this can apply to you. Have you already tried to fix this problem with the company? Just hit yes. Did you request information from the company? No. Then they're going to ask you what happened. And what you're going to want to put in here is what you put in your dispute letter. So again, they tell you don't put personal information like your name, account numbers, social security numbers, so make sure none of that is in there. But you want to put in here the reason for your dispute that you had in your letter. And I'm just going to type something in here so we can get through this. And if you want them to publish the information, you can select this, but I would say most of you probably don't want that selected. And what would be a fair resolution to the issue? To remove the inaccurate info from my credit report. And, a lot of times you might see people saying that you have to put, quote all these laws all the time. A lot of times you really will see more success by putting things just as simple as this. Sometimes there are purposes to use the laws and sound a little bit more fancy and aggressive, but just simple stuff like this can go a long way. Now, also, you want to make sure that you attach the dispute letter that you sent, as well as your proof of identity, proof of social, proof of address. Now, in here is going to ask you the name of the credit reporting company that you want to complain about. So you would just type in, Experian or Equifax or TransUnion, whoever it is. Then you want to put last four social, date of birth, and name as it appears on credit report, and you want to enter that information in here. And then they're going to ask you, do you want to complain about another company? And from here is where you can add the other credit bureaus that you might want to also file this complaint against. And as you can see, it just asks you to do the same thing. So just complete that, and you just do this until you add all three of those bureaus. Or if you're doing this on a collection company or a creditor, you can put that information in here. Now they're going to ask you if you submit this for yourself. They're going to ask you to put in your address and stuff like that. You don't have to put this other optional information here about race and whatnot. Household size, you don't need to put any of that. And then you're going to go to review and then submit, and then that's it for this method. Now, there are two more things that you're going to want to do if you really want to improve your credit and get funding for your business. The first is if you want to get more details on the differences between those options to get the credit reports and how to thoroughly go through your credit report, find those accounts that are hurting your credit, and what to look for on them, then go and watch this playlist right here. And if you want to see the best business credit card options to fund your business, once you actually have seen that improvement in your credit score, so you know what you can expect, go to this next video right here, and I'll see you in the next one.